Hello children, welcome to social science class. In today's class, we are going to learn about the types of land and we are going to learn about the inscription and text which has been used in the Sabah, and we are going to learn about the China under the Tang dynasty. So first let us learn about the types of land. So here, yesterday's class we saw about the administration about the Chola dynasty. In that we learnt about what is meant by village level administration, and we learnt about the Ar, and we learnt about the Nadu and how it was performed by both of them, how they are performing, and we learnt about the landowners, so who controlled over the Nadu, and we come to know the three different kinds of people who were living in the southern part, like Vellalar, Ulavar, Kadesiyar and Adimai, like these people who were living in Tamil region, and we learnt about the landowners and the titles which was given for them and how they'll work for the community, that is about central Chola government, what are the works they have been divided for, and we learnt about the titles which was given for those people like Muvendavelan and Arayar. So like these, it was comes under that, and we learnt about the land grants which was given for Brahmanas, and after that they were settling in the Kaveri rivers, and we learnt that who will manage the land grants of Sabas, isn't it? So here we'll come to know that important thing which was given for the Brahmin, the Brahmins will associate the Brahmadaya which was given by the king, right? So this assembly was called as Sabha, we learnt, and we learnt about how the Sabha has been organized, isn't it? And by this we are going to learn that what are the types of lands during the Chola dynasty, during the Chola period, to whom and all they gave their lands, and what are the names they give for that particular kind of land we are going to learn today. So first is about Chola inscription mention several categories of land. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories of land. So each land has its specific name and it has been written in the inscriptions, so that from that we could find it out. So these lands are given to some special person for some other purpose, like, so each land has a specific name for that. So first land name is of Vellan Vagai. So it was a land of non-Brahmana peasant proprietors. So it was given to a non-Brahmana peasant proprietors. Then Brahmadaya. So we all know it is the land gifted to Brahmanas. And the Chalaboha, it's a land for the maintenance of a school. So this land was given to a Chalaboga. It was named as Chalaboga, and it was given for the purpose to maintenance for the maintenance of a school. And Devadana Tirunama Mattukani, that is Tirunama Mattukani, and this land was gifted to temples and Palichin Dam. So this land was donated to the Jaina institution. So these are the types of lands which has been given by the Chola kings and to the several people by these things. So the next thing we are going to see about the Periya Puranam. What do you mean by Periya Puranam? Have you all heard about this? So this chapter we have learnt in Tamil. So in Periya Puranam it will tell us about the lives of men and women who lived in the Chola period. Okay, so here just we'll go and learn about what was written about the Periya Puranam and how they are relating to the Sabha. So here the Sabhas. So what are the work? Sorry, one second. So here we'll see what are the works done by the Sabha. That is about the Sabha or assemblies worked very efficiently. So these Sabha, so they'll tell it as assembly. In the other name, they'll tell it as assembly. So here they worked very efficiently. So here their decisions were recorded in detail. So it was recorded in the inscription and on the stone walls of temple. So apart from Sabha, sometimes associations of trade traders called Nagaram. So traders means the traders will come from different place. We all know that. So to that particular Sabha place, so the different traders from different subcontinents and different places, they come and give the things and they'll get the exchange the things, isn't it? So that particular place is known as Nagaram, and they also perform the administrative functions in the towns. So here the Periya Puranam is written in the 12th century. It's a Tamil work. It informs us about the lives of ordinary men and women. So here we learnt about the assembly. So the Sabha or assembly will tell it us. So they will be working very efficiently. So this has been recorded in the inscriptions on the stone walls of temple, and we learnt about the association of traders from other places. They'll come to the Sabha and they are all called as Nagaram, and they also perform the administrative function in towns. Then the next thing is about who could be a Sabha member. So we doesn't know how the Sabha members will be elected. So yesterday's class we learnt about that. The names have been written in a pot and the names have been written in the chit of a palm leaves, and it will be put in the earthenware pot, and one of a young boy will come and take one thing, so that from that they'll elect the member for the Sabha. So here we'll see more about how they are selecting the Sabha members. So here, who could be a member of a Sabha? The Uttaramerur inscriptions lays down. So here the Uttaramerur, and the Uttaramerur only we saw the inscription which is in the Chengalpattu district in Tamil Nadu, right? So these are the following things which has been inscripted there in that thing. So here all those who wish to become the members of Sabha should be the owner of land, or they have to collect which they have land revenues collected there. Then we all have learned what do you mean by land revenue in the previous classes, isn't it? So they should have their own homes. They should be between 35 and 70 years of age. They should have knowledge of the Vedas. They should be well versed in administrative matters and honest. So if anyone has been a member of any committee in the last 3 years, he cannot become a member of another committee. Anyone who has not submitted his accounts and those of his relatives cannot contest the elections. The first one is they should have their own land, and from them the land revenue will be collected. So that is the first point. The second thing is they all should have their own homes. For example, one who have to get selected for the Sabha. These are the restrictions given by the Chola kingdom. Okay. Then the third thing is about the age for the member is about 35 to 70 years. And the main thing is they should have the knowledge of Vedas, and they should have well versed in administrative matters, and they should be very honest in their accounts. And the next point is about for example, if the member of that particular family for last 3 years they will be working, means the another committee they won't be selected. And for example, from the family, if anyone is selected and the accounts was not clearly submitted, means so any of his relatives or whoever else has not been elected as a Sabha members. So these are the qualities they'll be adding for to elect as a Sabha members. Then the next thing we are going to see about the China. So meanwhile elsewhere, so in China an empire was established in the 7th century. So this was called the Tang dynasty. So here they remained in power for 300 years from the 7th to the 10th century. So their capital was Xi'an, and it was a very large city. So here it was visited by Turks, Iranians, Indians, Japanese and Koreans. So here we are going to learn about the China. The empire was established in which century? In the 7th century. So here this was called as a Tang dynasty. So the China established in the 7th century an empire. So it was named as the Tang dynasty. So how long it prolonged? It prolonged for 300 years. That means the 7th to the 10th century. So their capital, so what was the capital of Tang dynasty? Xi'an. So it was a large city. So here it was visited by, so this particular place was visited by so many country people, the Turks, The Iranians, the Indians, the Japanese and Koreans. So they all came to this place to visit the China. Then the next we are going to learn about it is about the administration of Tang dynasty. So here the Tang Empire was administered by the bureaucracy. So what do you mean by bureaucracy? That means a system of government which is run by many officials who were not elected by the people. So here, for example, if you are selecting a chief minister, as the people will be selecting that. But here the system of government which can run by many officials, but it won't, but those people were not elected by certain people. So this bureaucracy was recruited through an examination. So as we are all writing the TRB, UPS exam, like that, so many examinations are there, so same like that, for this bureaucracy was recruited means they have to come with the examination, so that the examination was open to all. Whoever wished to write it, you can write the examination. So this system followed in China up till 1911. So this was the main administration done by the Tang dynasty. Then the next thing, kindly take out your lead school book. In page 41, they have given in short, within the 4 lines, they have given about the Chola administration. So the Chola Empire was one of the strongest empires during the medieval period. So they put in place a strong administrations. So we all know that. So the implement in agriculture has been done in this century, isn't it? So the empire was divided into several provinces. So that is known as Mandalam. So each Mandalam is further divided into districts. So that district named as Vallanadu. So this Vallanadu was in Tanjavur district. If you go now, you can see that. So that Vallanadu district means it was made up of 20 to 25 villages, it seems. So already we have learnt about the Nadu, isn't it? So the village Nadu was the smallest unit of administration, but this Vallanadu was made up of 20 to 25 villages, and it was named as a district which was under the Mandalam. So here is a 4 lines which was given about the Chola administration. The next thing, as we learnt about, are the Sabha, about the Nagaram and all, right? So they have given in points. So the king was the most important figure in the Chola administrative structure. Various bodies assisted the king in carrying out the administration of the empire, as shown in the chart below. So here you can see the Chola king. Under that, the head of administration. Who are the head of administration? Are Sabha and Nagaram. So our council of peasants functioned in Brahmana villages and was controlled by rich Velala peasants, isn't it? And Sabha, a council of Brahmana and landholders, functioned in village, given as land grants to the Brahmanas, so it was also known as Brahmadaya by the king. And another one, Nagaram, it was a council of traders for all, that means trade related activities. So it was operated in towns with markets known as, we will tell it as, it was known as Pattanams. So no, don't think that it is Veerapandiya Patnam. Patnam means it's a small place where some people can live in it for local produce. Okay, local produce means local items will be produced there. Then if the king had to get any work done in the villages, he could get it done through the Ar and the Sabha. So if the king want to get any work in the village, means they have to get the work from the Ar and by the Sabha. Then the practice question 6, it tells us about the administrative bodies. So A, B is given there. You have to find it out, the C and D, and some descriptions have been given. By that you have to find it out, the answer for C and D. So I think you all know about it. What was the description about the air and what was the description about the Nadu? You have to write it. And 6.2 is about how could people join the Sabha. So what are the qualities they need? You have to write it. Then 6.3, what were the functions of the village council and the Nadu? So what the village council will do? So as we saw yesterday, what are the thing done in villages? So actually the village level, so they started spreading the irrigation agriculture so that the peasants become prosperous, isn't it? So here they become the and what is the difference between the Nadu and village council? You have to write it in that question. Then the next part 6.4 is about, in each box list in List an accomplishment of the Cholas in art, agriculture, and architecture, and why that achievement was important for ordinary people. You have to write it. So you have to write the achievements and what are the importance of whether it is helpful for the people. Everything you have to mention it in the three boxes about the art, about the agriculture, and the architecture. So today's homework is to do the practice question 6 from 6.1 to 6.5, and another question that is about why were temples the hub of social, economic, and cultural life. So we all know the temples is known as the center part, and it is not mentioned for worshipping. It also helps to raise the social and economic and cultural life of the Chola kingdom, right? So kindly do this practice question 6 and send it in the Google Classroom. Thank you, dear children.